The Homeland Security and Judiciary Committees are currently weighing articles of impeachment against President Biden.
The House voted along party lines yesterday to refer the measure to the panels. This move sidestepped a vote on the resolution after House Speaker McCarthy and other Republicans voiced concerns that the impeachment effort was rushed. Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert of Colorado introduced the impeachment articles Tuesday. They're focused on the president's handling of the U.S. Mexico border and immigration.
Joining us now from Capitol Hill is CBS News congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane. So, Scott, tell us about this effort to impeach President Biden and why House Speaker McCarthy is currently not supporting it.
Elaine and Lana, welcome to the political arms race over impeachment resolutions, where they're moving fast and furiously through the House Republican Conference, and there really are competing efforts inside the House Freedom Caucus, that farther right group of conservatives in the House Republican Conference who are seeking to either move an impeachment vote against the president or against key members of the administration, the Homeland Security Secretary, the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia prosecuting the January 6th cases, and the head of the FBI, Christopher Wray. There is no agreement in the House Republican Conference about how to move forward, when to move forward, or which to move forward first. So what's happened is they've referred this to the House Homeland Security Committee for review. We just spoke with a member of the House Homeland Security Committee who told me there's no firm timeline or expectations as when it'll be returned. But it raises a provocative political question. Is it a matter of when, not if, House Republicans vote to impeach the president? And is the process of doing so directly a political response to Donald Trump's desire to see it happen?
Well, Scott, as it sounds like impeachment is becoming more of a thing at the Capitol, it sounds like also unimpeachment is now a thing. Two House Republicans unveiling their own resolutions yesterday to try to expunge former President Trump's two impeachments. What's going on?
Yeah, it's a good question, a good philosophical question to which I don't have a strong answer. But let me tell you what's going to happen next. There are two different impeachment expungement bills, one from Congresswoman Taylor Greene of Georgia, one from Congresswoman Stefanik of New York. Congresswoman Greene's would, in her words, make as if the first impeachment of Donald Trump didn't happen, wipe it off the record, the impeachment that happened in 2020. The one from Congresswoman Stefanik would expunge the impeachment for the January 6th U.S. Capitol attack. Two different bills, two different expungements for two different impeachments. What's this all about? Really is a good question. So we brought it to Congressman Dan Bishop, a House Freedom Caucus member, then Congressman Dan Goldman, a Democrat from New York. All this impeachment talk. Here's what they had to say. Is it too early? Is it really ripe for a committee and maybe for a floor vote soon?
It has happened, so that's sort of maybe an irrelevant question because it is what it is, and people can always deliberate over when's the right time to look at any particular issue. That has been decided by the action on the floor. So I think the responsibility of the Committee on Homeland Security is to give it careful consideration and move it along quickly.
I wanted to get your thoughts on what you make of these impeachment expungement efforts that are going on.
It is just a further continuation of the House Republicans acting as Donald Trump's taxpayer-funded lawyers. It is telling who is introducing them, and it's essentially whoever who's trying to curry the most favor with Donald Trump.
There are a couple things we do know for certain, Elaine and Lana. These things have no shelf life in the U.S. Senate. They are headed nowhere. These are political messaging bills. And something else is certain. Political messaging bills are so important that members of Congress will stand out in the rain and talk to us about them.
Well, we know that there isn't any actual work that needs to be done, so good that they're focusing all their attention on the politics.
All right, I do have to ask you about this exchange because there was an exchange that is getting a lot of attention. House Republicans Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene reportedly had a heated discussion, shall we say, earlier this week on the House floor. Tell us what that was about. It's interesting because these are two women who are staunch conservatives. I'm wondering what that exchange was about, and does it violate any pre-existing rules of etiquette in Congress?
Oh, if there was a violation of rules in Congress for cursing on the House floor, we would have very few members of Congress still with us. But this is different, and I'm glad you asked about it. These are two members of Congress who share a political lane, both arch conservatives in the Republican conference, both very vocal supporters of Donald Trump. But there is a rivalry. It's been brewing, and it manifested itself this week with a misogynistic vulgarity directed towards Ms. Boebert that Congresswoman Green has reportedly confirmed. This is going to be an issue moving forward. This rivalry between two conservatives who are trying to move what they believe to be the best approach towards impeaching members of the Biden administration, but also trying to make sure that they have the ear of America and the ear of Donald Trump in the process. This is not the last chapter in that story.
All right, more to come. Scott MacFarlane on Capitol Hill. Scott, thank you.